A very good day to you. Hope you had yourself an amazing Thursday. This is the Black Hot Fire News Update, and I'm here to tell you about each and everything that was happening throughout the whole of Africa today. Of course, starting with Uganda, coming back to Kenya, and I was just with Keith telling me about how he drives from the left side, something that I don't understand. Because how do you drive on the left side? You guys need to recheck your traffic rules, Keith. Don't you think it makes more sense to drive on the right? To keep left and less overtaking. I think I lost Keith. Was telling me about that. So he's gonna be joining me later. So today we're gonna be looking at different things that are happening throughout the whole of Africa. And the first one is in Uganda, where 42 people are arrested in Uganda over the protests. And Museveni has actually gone on to say that most of those who are arrested will not just be charged with they're not going to be charged with disorderliness as they had originally claimed. He said that they're going to be charged with, he never actually said what they're going to be charged with, but he said that it is going to shock many. So let me read the statement that Museveni released to the public today so that you see what we are dealing with in Uganda. So he says, fellow Ugandans, especially the Bazukulu, greetings. I want to congratulate the armed forces and the security forces and the Wananchi for foiling or not participating in the bad demonstrations that was planned for Tuesday. That demonstration had two bad elements. Element number one was funding from foreign sources. The same script from Kenya translated to Uganda, where they are saying that the demonstrations are funded by foreign forces. In Kenya, they said it was the Ford Foundation. The Ford Foundation is a multi-billion-dollar organization that has been operating in Africa, allegedly for philanthropist reasons. We know philanthropy does not exist in this part of the world, and everybody who runs an organization, an NGO, has something behind. They always have a hidden agenda, something that they are looking into gaining. So even the Ford Foundation, as much as it was, it might not be the one sponsoring the Kenyan demonstrations. I still don't believe it. I still don't trust it. I don't trust most of those philanthropist organizations that try to come to Africa and say that they're trying to help. I don't know, do this, do that, do that. I might be biased, but I don't trust most of them. So Museveni goes on to say that the demonstrations had two bad elements. Element number one was funding from foreign sources that are always meddling in the internal affair of Africa for the last 600 years. Slave trade, colonialism, neocolonialism, genocide, economic exploitation, etc. All those involved should know that Uganda is not a neo-colony, the irony, where those shallow elements can be deployed. Museveni was right here. There are forces that have been elements that have been meddling with internal affairs of Africa for the last 600 years. Slave trade, colonialism, neocolonialism, genocides, economic exploitations. I agree with you, Museveni, on this. But they're not the ones funding the demonstrations. They're actually the ones who would release such a statement. The demonstrations are from people who are sick and tired of these foreign forces that have been meddling in the internal affairs of not just Uganda, but of Africa. So Museveni, the elements that you're saying are funding the demonstrations are the elements that the people in the demonstrations are demonstrating against. So if they are actually funding people to demonstrate against them, then they are idiots. The second element, he said, was that some authors and participants of the demonstrations were planning to do very bad things against the people of Uganda. And that's when you know a man is capping. Because what do you mean they were planning to do bad things to the people of Uganda? That sounds like, you remember those folklores which you would get told as children of giants, and what do you mean they are planning to do bad things against the people of Uganda? Do you know how that sounds? Bad things? And he goes on to say those very bad things, I know it's funny, and those very bad things will come out in court when those arrested are being tried. it is possible that some of the participants did not know of the planned foreign funding and the planned bad things. Not yet a mention of whatever the bad things are, just generalities and words that have been just, you know. He goes on to say, otherwise, if it was a patriotic, anti-corruption, peaceful demonstration coordinated with the police, I would have been the first to join. No, you wouldn't. The protests were against corruption. Corruption in the government you lead. How are you going to demonstrate against corruption in a government you lead? That would be the most ridiculous thing ever. Why are you out there with citizens demonstrating against corruption when you are in a position to stop it? Are you not the top man? Why then are you demonstrating with citizens against your own government? It's as ridiculous as it sounds. He goes on to say, indeed, in the year 2019, Nakalema organized and we marched from the city square through Kampala Road to Jinja Road and went to Kololo. Bishops, soldiers, wananchi, etc. I thought that Nakalema had timed a Sunday because there was neither traffic nor pedestrians on the road. So Museveni's argument is, if you're going to hold demonstrations, hold them on a day that it doesn't affect the economy at all so that we don't feel any impact. But then you forget the constitution does not state such a thing. It's actually a provision in the Ugandan constitution that people can actually demonstrate peacefully at whatever day, at whatever time, at whatever day. I'm not sure about the time. All they need to do is inform the police so the police can give them protection. But now Museveni is telling the Ugandans, if you want to demonstrate, do it on a Sunday during the light hours and go to a place that does not have people. And he goes on to say, those being funded by foreigners should stop and report to the Minister of State for Ethics. Those that have been funding them, we shall not arrest them. Wow, so it's the same Kenyan script that has been now in Uganda.
It's the same script. The same script by dictator. Those have been funded. Those ones are getting funded to you. Your ass is the one funded, not nobody. Ain't nobody funding these kids in the streets.
I think this whole statement, the only part that I agree with him is on the second paragraph, as I said, where he says that there are bad elements that have been meddling with internal affairs of Africa for the last 600 years. In slave trade, in colonialism, genocide.
Those are the ones that put his ass in power.
So he says that those ones who have contributed to economic exploitation, to mineral and resources exploitations, are the ones funding the protest. And I tell him, no, the people protesting are actually protesting against those ones that have been exploiting Africans. So
exactly.
If they're funding the protesters to protest against them, then they're stupid. It doesn't add up. It's just they all read from the same playbook and they think it's gonna work. Yep, and it was I can tell you for free, it was Museveni is going to be addressing the country, Uganda, next week. So that is what is going to be happening in Africa now. Presidential address after presidential address. And one thing I love about this is that it also messed with Museveni's ego. He's not used to this. He's used to when he tells people don't do this, they don't do it. And so on Sunday, when he went live on TV and told them to stop playing with fire, he was sure they wouldn't turn up. But they came out and played with the fire. And now they've bruised his ego. He does not, and that is why he's going to be. Imagine he said that they wanted to do bad things. That is the word they use. So in court, I guess the charge sheet will read, you have been convicted, you are being accused of bad things. Because I'm not making this up. That is what Museveni has said in his statement, that they were doing bad things in the streets. So they'll be sentenced to 10 years in jail for doing bad things. You'll be in jail and you'll ask what you did and you say, I did bad things. Do you know how ridiculous that is? The fact that they can't even... The fact
10 years? They said give somebody 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what he said?
I'm not sure, but the other one who insulted him got 7. What about those ones who went to the streets? How
That's
many years
crazy.
do they get?
That means you got hey Ugandans, you got to get some ball. You got to and like just like Central said yesterday, I was on sure that a lot of Ugandans are just too stupid. They don't know shit. You're right. The educational system is so bad in Uganda. It's so bad, so bad.
Because if that TikToker got 7 years, what about those ones
Yeah,
that did bad things on Tuesday?
yeah, she did something. Yeah, 'cause it's so bad that man, I don't know shit. You might have to have somebody else liberate your ass. Another African country got to come
Mhm.
and liberate you when all the African countries start toppling. You had to have somebody come in and give me 70 from outside. No.
Yeah. So, but I love how now Museveni's ego has been bruised, the same as the Kenyan president. That is the reason why, ever since the demo started, he's never left the country. He has missed like 7 events. He missed the G7 meeting. He couldn't go. He missed the swearing in of Ramaphosa. He couldn't go. He missed the African France summit. He couldn't go. He's missed everything because he apparently does not want to leave the country because he's not sure whether he's gonna come back and
He'd be gone. He'd be ousted.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. The same as Suluhu. Suluhu is not also not leaving the country anytime soon, and Tinubu too.
She's
They are
another
all
puppet. She's another
yeah.
wicked ass puppet.
Yeah,
You
so
know, she can't even claim to even have won at a damn election. She didn't win shit. So she can't even claim that the people love her ass.
mhm. Yeah, so and in Kenya, I don't know if I reported this yesterday. In Kenya, they took all the opposition MPs and put them in the cabinet.
Of
That
course
is the
they did that. Yeah,
president
that's
for the
all that real dinga shit. So
yep.
that's what I told you they were always gonna have the oppositions in Africa are all fake guys, they're all phony.
Yep.
So to pretend like they're doing some damn transition or making things better, they go to the opposition, which is really the same, which is them too. So it's that they change, but the youth of Kenya know that's fraudulent. They know that's a scam. They know that's a scam. So that shit ain't gonna work either.
And so
Your old scams, you African morons. Your people, especially, are not as dumb as you think they are. No, they're not dumb. They're not your parents. They're not the parents' parents. You're fucking with a whole new intelligent people. You in trouble. You can't do the same nonsensical games you've been doing and get away with it anymore. They know.
I said this yesterday in Tubonge. I know what Ruto is trying to do is, in the 2022 election, the youths never voted. No, the young people never voted in the election. The young people in Kenya have never cared about who's the president. They never voted. So even in the votes that, for example, Ruto got, Raila got, if you look at the votes that young people casted, they were minimal, negligible. Yeah.
Minimum.
So the reason why he did that is because, one, he took Raila and assured him of the AUC job, the African Union chairmanship. So Raila now is out of the picture, so he's not going to be vying in 2027. He's going to fully back Ruto in 2027. So they are now backing on the youth not voting again. And now,
That's dumb. That's dumb because the youth are on fire. Youth are on fire. Of course they vote. And of course the election will try to be stolen, guys, because the youth are the majority of the country. No way any Ruto would win in an election, not this in 2027, a real election held now. He'd be ousted from power. He'd be out of there. But 2027 gives them enough time for the Americans to come in and try to rig it. But that won't happen because there'll be death in the streets. It's just not going to go back to normal. And you despots, Kenya's not going to go back to the stealing, the robbing, all that shit is not going to go back to normal. Go ahead.
They're now backing on that, on the youths not voting again, and Ruto now having both the opposition and the having all the votes, all the votes that were Raila's, They are
It don't
banking.
it don't matter.
They are in
The
short. They are
youth
banking.
the youth
They
are the
are banking on
majority.
in short. They are banking on the ignorant voters who are
Nope,
in the villages
nope.
to
It
actually vote.
ain't gonna work. Nah, nah. Not in the villages. The youth are rise. And imagine from now to 2027, how many more youth are gonna come of age? Millions.
Yep.
You're gonna be overwhelmed by the
Yep.
youth. You're gonna be overwhelmed. So no, that strategy is actually stupid as shit.
Because and for once, people are starting to realize that we never have. Because I've always heard people talk about Raila being an opposition leader in Uganda. When was he an opposition leader? That man has never been an opposition leader. He was born.
No,
He was born.
God controlled opposition.
That man has never been in opposition. Actually, when he was born, his father was in Kenyatta's government. He
Of
was
course.
so he was born in as his father was in the sitting government. When Moi
Hmm.
took power, he went on to become even the Secretary General of Moi's party, KANU. So he was
Yeah.
not in opposition during Moi's time too. During Kibaki's time, he was the prime minister in the handshake in the coalition government. So he was never in opposition too. During Uhuru's
No.
time, he went into another handshake with Uhuru that saw him in government. So he was never in opposition during Uhuru's time too. During
Uh,
Ruto's time, he's now headed for the African Union chairmanship, which he might not get. So he's not in opposition again. So when was that man ever an opposition leader really? Because I don't think.
never. Well, I think what's called controlled opposition. That means
Mhm,
never. That's controlled opposition. It's fake opposition. That's what they
mhm.
have in Africa. Fake opposition. It's called controlled opposition. It's not real. It's fake. So
Understand?
that's when he was.
Mhm.
So when you think you got opposition, no, there's no opposition in Africa. It's controlled. It's to make you
Opposition.
believe, oh yeah, we got opposition and they fighting. Well, what we want? No, it's controlled opposition. It's
Mhm.
kabuki theater, just like in America. Oh, we got the Democrats, Republic. No, you don't. You got one party. You got fake controlled opposition. It's fake. It's an illusion. It's fraudulent. So
And
that's what's going on.
yep. And that man has also always, and I'm not afraid to say this, that man has always ridden in the back of blood. After every election, he calls his people to the streets. The people go
Yeah,
out
the
in the
cause
streets.
cause
They are
mayhem. The cause that's to keep
yep,
his power. That's to keep his power relevant. Not to
yep,
give a shit about the people. That's how
yep,
corrupt he's been. That's to keep him relevant.
yep,
Say, hey, don't forget about me. This is what I can do now. Don't forget about
yep.
my share of the shit you're stealing. Now these dumb niggas I got in the street tearing up shit, they
Mhm.
won't. They're just stupid. They're just tribal. That's letting you know. Don't forget about my shit now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
need not just my handshake. I'm gonna need my piece of cake.
And that is what has
That,
always happened. In
yeah,
2017, about 20 people died in the demos, and he was called to the
yeah.
government.
He doesn't
So he
give a shit.
maintained his position in the government through people dying. Even this time, his ministers were elected. His friends were elected into the ministerial position after we had youths die in the demos. So even it's sad when we think that
It's
we
wicked. It's
yeah.
wicked. It's sad. It's sad when you wake up from your sleep under more. realize,
Mhm.
realize the system is wicked.
And yeah, it's very sad. I don't even know what to say. And it's the same case. I'm sure it's the same case in Uganda with Bobby Wine. I don't know with
Yeah, he's a puppet. He's controlled
but
opposition.
the other one before Bobby Wine was something else. He was half of the time he was in Kenya in hospitals. Besigye, if you can remember Kiza Besigye, he was Museveni never used to joke with him. He was- I don't know where that man went. Let me see where that man went.
Got
Kiza
me.
Besigye. He must have retired.
Probably have because
Yeah,
they need
so
a younger new puppet. That's why you've never seen them beat
mhm,
up and beat up and fucking Bobby Wine because Museveni's been told he's the
mhm,
heir apparent. If you do anything to him, we're gonna overthrow you, nigga. Because they could have been shot. If he was a real opposition, Museveni would have been killed him. Would have been beat him up and had him all fucked up. He ain't because he been told You can say whatever you want to say, but Bobby Wine is off limits to you. If anything
Yeah,
happens to him, we're going to
yeah.
get rid of you.
By the way, if you look at it, in Uganda, where they'll arrest you for anything, even insulting.
Exactly.
How come Bobby Wine is never arrested, never
He's a
touched?
and that exactly because he's the air. They've already told him to exactly. That's why I want you to get to think. Yes, you know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been over in America with Bill Gates and he sat with the Rockefellers. That's why the real power of the planet. That's why he's never touched. And when he is arrested, it's a joke. For an hour, they let him out. Bobby Wine's been let out of jail because Museveni's already been told, nigga, your son is not going to be president of Uganda. And if you touch
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Wine, you have now terminated your presidency. We're going to come and we're going to see you for real. There's no system you've set up that we don't control in your country that we won't touch you. Your goopy police you got, you know, that's not the real deal. When we come for you, we come for you. So he's been told that. That's why Bobby Wine gets to do all the crazy shit does in Uganda. And don't shit ever
Yeah,
happen to him. He's been
that
told,
one can say
Demore.
anything and he's never touched.
That's right. He's the
Yeah,
new puppet.
but they really take us for kids, because
But
how do
but
they?
they kept you in a childlike state. It's called
Yeah.
white supremacy makes Africans infantilize. It's called children. It keeps the African as a child. See, even though you got your parents, you think they're adults, but no, most your parents got childlike minds. That's what white supremacy does. Even America, it takes its oppressors, and
Mm-hmm.
and turns them into children, so they can never get out of the oppression. Childlike mind. But the problem is the Kenyan youth have broken through the childlike barrier. Like, oh shit, what the fuck? So that's that was like, God damn, what the fuck is going on? That the Kenyan youth are talking like adults. They're not talking like children. And they're also what? Like you showed that they're now uh, 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 telling truth to power. They're being honest and saying, you know, when the people say, fuck you, Rudo, this is what's going on. You lying to us. No more, Mr. Excellency. I'm sorry, I want to say something to you like a child talking to a parent. I don't want to be anything offensive and disrespectful. You know, you're like, fuck that. Where's the money at, goddammit? Where you been stealing and shit? So you're now
Yeah,
becoming an adult.
yeah.
Yeah. The Kenyan political class is not used to hearing Kenyans talk like adults. Like, what the fuck is going on? What it's like a whole paradigm shift. Demore, they're still grappling with the hell what's going on. Like, god damn.
and still on Kenya, on some other news in Kenya today, the court stopped the Maisha number. I don't know if you've heard about the Maisha number, Keith.
What's that?
The Maisha number was a unique personal identifier that the government was coming up with, that
Wow.
they were gonna give people a personal, they call it a unique personal identifier. It's a number that is going that when you have, it has access to you. You just need that one number for your driving.
No, sounds like some new world order digital shit. So it's gonna probably have access to your bank account, access to your driver's license, access to all your information on one thing.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some IMF, World Bank, Rothschild, Rockefeller lock people down shit. So you said the court stopped that shit. Good. That's all that Irish shit. And, yeah, that's all that new world order shit. Shout out to them, because that's what because they want to implement. Kenya is gonna be their test bed, like they did China. They're gonna do Kenya as the test subject in Africa, to Black Africa, and then spread it all around to Africa. So they're having problems because the youth in Africa woke up. Hey, and shout out to the Kenyans that actually know it. I'm a listener to Twitter space. They know what this new world order is. Also very proud of you Kenyans, the ones that know what's going on. You guys broke it down perfectly. I'm so surprised that you know it. I'm like,
Mhm.
he's like, this one guy, I don't know what the fuck he was on Twitter, just broke that shit down. I was like, wow. I never knew that they knew that much information in Kenya. I was like, wow, he knows all of it. Hell yeah. Blew my mind. I was like, I said, this is divine intervention here, boy. Because to know as much as he knew, I was like, wow. He knew exactly what it is about the digital IDs, digital code. That's what it's all about. Just to lock you down, family, so to make it easy for them to kill you off the planet. And also, if you get out of line, let's cut you off your food because all your money's going to be on that card, so they can cut you off when you get out of line. It's all that digital shit they're trying to integrate. So when the dollar does collapse, their fake money system, they have a
Mhm.
they have carbon credit for the fake global warming shit. You're gonna use so many carbons. There's no Africa's deindustrialized. There's no carbon in Africa, so that shouldn't even apply. Africa's
So here's
carbon
what.
footprint is zero. Go ahead.
Yep. So here's what the Maisha card was to look like. It was to be an ID that has it can't be scanned. So with that one, they were saying that it was actually what was to happen. The card was going to be your driving license. It was going to be your
Everything.
NHIF. NHIF
Yeah.
is your National Health Insurance Fund. It was your identity card. So once it has your money inside, so
Yeah. See, I knew it. Yeah,
yep,
that's the new world order shit.
they
That's the
always come with the
digitalization of it.
they always come with this gimmick of saying that it's convenient. You now don't have to carry
Yeah,
14 cards. You don't have
yeah,
to
that's
carry 14
exactly. I'm
cards in
glad you
your
understand
wallet.
that, the
Just
more
one
your
card.
convenience is your slavery, exactly. And they
Yep.
probably gonna make it. They're probably gonna make it free. Your convenience is your slavery. That's how they do it. They get you convenience as they lock you down into slavery,
Yeah.
and
So
that's what they're doing.
I know the ads are gonna be like, no, you don't have to carry 14 cards anymore. You just need one Maisha card. I'm
Exactly,
gonna buy it.
exactly. It's a
With
free
your
up,
debit
and
card. Mm.
ever gonna give it to you for free. What? Yeah, free. That's right.
All you need is your fingerprint and your eyes
That's right.
scanned.
That's right. Fuck all that
Yep.
crazy shit. That's that. I'm like I told Airtime. That's the new world order. That's what they're doing. And that's when that guy, the Kenyan guy, understood all that. I said, "Yep." See, first they used to lie to you. Oh, it's not gonna be that. Now they work. Now you see them unfolding it. When I said that 10 years ago about the digital currency, the digital goddamn ID, keep you crazy, motherfucker. Have you read their own papers? That's what they talk. They've already written it in their foundations. Ford, Rockefeller, Rothschild, they've already written what they're going to do, what they want. They want complete lockdown, complete control of this planet. So even if their fake money scheme collapses, which it does because it's fake paper, they have the
Mhm.
digital currency waiting, but only they're rich. Then they start, hate to say, start genociding the rest of the planet. It's real wicked shit. That's what, like I showed Eartime this morning. I said, Eartime, understand what a psyop is. That's what the 19 was. I said, they did it before. I said, fine. I said, look up Spanish flu and see how many people died from that. She looked, I ain't never heard. I said, yeah, that was a pandemic they launched all over the world 100 years ago. It wasn't the flu that killed them. It was the
Mhm.
vaccine. So they did that and see whether, she said 500 million. I said, damn, I didn't know it was that many. So now, remember, they now want to kill 8 billion people because they say it's overpopulated. What's a lie? That's causing the fake global warming, the people, all these lies. That's their narrative. Since they own all the media, and they push out that narrative. That's why even when the guys are escaping bad governance and can't feed themselves, oh, they're leaving because of global warming. Like, what? They're not leaving no Africa's no fucking
They're
global
leaving,
warming.
they're leaving because they are poor and hopeless, and
That's right.
a hopeless man
That's
is a
right.
man who doesn't have anything to lose.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because they're hopeless. They got nothing. Exactly. And they've seen Europe is better. Can we get a better job? They don't know the Europeans don't like them, don't want their ass up there.
Nah,
They've
but
been taught none of that.
the media doesn't tell them that. The media
Of
tells
course
them
not.
that
That'll sound
media
mean.
tells them that they tell them that the West, the Europe is heaven-like, and it's
Yeah.
place of, you know,
Milk
bounty
and
and
honey. That's right.
yeah, milk
Milk and
and honey,
honey.
yeah, and golden streets, you know.
Yeah,
they
go
don't
to the
know
street.
they don't know we have people in the US starving like we are
They don't know
starving now.
exactly. We got starving. Exactly. People in the U.S. and in Europe starving right now. Can't get jobs. You coming up there thinking you'll get a job, they're not hiring you. There's no jobs. So now you homeless, and a lot of you Africans are homeless in these countries where they hate you. And it's cold as shit up there too. They like Africa where it's a little warm. It's up there, it's cold as shit. You ain't never been to no real winter. You're like, God damn, it's cold than a motherfucker. Yeah. You out in a tent. So yeah, that's what's happening because you've been lied to and you don't know the source of your problems because your despots ain't told you. Reason why you're impoverished is because Europe is stealing from you. That's what built their little civilizations. The wealth that your despots are helping to steal out of your countries. But you never
Yep.
been told the wealth. You never been told the wealth of your countries.
And so as we come to the end of the show, one thing that is for sure is, if you've noticed and if you actually look, you're going to see that everything is falling. I would say, you know, Chinua Achebe had a book that was written that was called Things Fall Apart. Have you read it,
Things
Kid?
fall, yeah, things fall apart. The Nigerian author, yeah.
Yep. So it actually looks like things are starting to fall apart for them, and that is why even Museveni, of all people, has started blaming the Ford Foundation. Looks like the Ford Foundation is rich because it's the one sponsoring all the demos in Africa. Apparently, Tinubu is also going to say it's the Ford Foundation. Suluhu, it's the Ford Foundation. It's the new scapegoat for African. I don't know if they agreed to blame the Ford Foundation, but that's what they are all blaming for now, for the demos that we are seeing. So it's looked like things are starting to fall apart, and once things start to fall apart, then it was what I was saying on my other show, that there was another African author whose name was Henry Imbuga. He wrote and said that he wrote after the Kenyan independence. He looked at Kenya after independence, and he wrote and said it was better while we waited. Now we have nothing to wait for and nothing to look forward to. That is what the youths are realizing. It was even better when our grandfathers were colonized because they had hope. They knew that they thought that when they fight the white man, they were going to be free and life was going to be better. Now, the current generation, it's thinks it was better while we waited. And that is why they are not going to wait anymore. And that is why we are not listening to the talk about the future. I don't know. Look at the future of our country.
The future is now. The future is now,
Yeah,
the more right now.
we cannot have a future without a now. That's why we are working on the now, so that we can start talking about the future. The future depends on
but,
the
but
now.
but you guys feel a little easy on your parents. They weren't as educated as you guys are. So feel a
I,
little easier on them. They were not as educated
personally,
as you guys are.
personally, I can promise you this: I'm gonna hide both their IDs because I know they are going to vote for. I know who they are going to. I'm hiding their. I
Yeah,
know. Yeah,
I heard the kids that you say that. Hide all your parents' IDs and shit.
I can guarantee you for a fact that both my parents are gonna vote tribal. I can guarantee you that one.
Well, hold on, Demar. That's a good. Have you tried to talk? What have you talked to your parents about the protests in the streets? Have you talked to them?
Yeah, they supported the protest at first when it was against the finance bill. After the finance bill was dropped, they told me that we are now disturbing the government because the finance
Oh
bill was,
my God!
and that is the talk that has been there. And you know,
Have you? Hey, wait, man, hold on, Demar. Have you tried to explain to them what
you
that
know,
the government is corrupt and we're trying to change Kenya for the better?
do you know why people from my region never vote for Raila? Not because he has bad policies. Do you know why they don't vote for him? I'm from the
Because he's
mountain.
not because they're not from the tribe. I know.
No, because he's not from their tribe and because he's not circumcised. They can't vote for him. I'm not making this. You can ask anybody, ask Joby or Pablo.
Oh, Oh
Yep.
Lord, hold on, Demore. They're not voting for somebody because they don't have the skin cut off their penis. You should come on, Demore. Come
So
on.
Raila is from a tribe that does not. No, no,
You sounding crazy, Demore.
no, no.
Come on.
Ask Joby on her show. So Raila comes from a tribe that does not circumcise its men. And now majority of other Kenyan tribes do not vote for him because he's not circumcised. It doesn't matter his agenda, his policies. I mean, you still have your foreskin. We're not voting for you, bro. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Every time I think it can't get no more crazy. The more he put me right back in the crazy zone.
But that's
So
because you know why they have that bias. Yep, they have that bias because in Africa they think that when you circumcise, that is when you go from being a boy to a man. They believe that in Africa. So now they
like
just consider Raila an old boy.
But that is African tradition because that's where it comes from. Goddamn, way before that's where the Christians got it from, circumcising. But
Yep.
it was that, and that's true. That's what they did to make sure when you go to a boy to a man, you circumcise. That's ancient African tradition all over Africa. So, but if some tribes don't do it, I mean, I got nothing to do if you got some skin on your dick. But
So there's no way anybody from where I come from is voting for a man with a foreskin on his penis. Never. Doesn't matter whether he's a Harvard professor. Doesn't matter whether his policies. Nah, get that foreskin. Then we talking. Raila has never won a Kenyan election because he at one point actually. Yeah, he knows it himself and he has defended himself so many times saying, don't say I'm not circumcised, maybe I am. But they tell him, we know you are not, we're not voting for you.
Can you imagine this is political discourse in Africa, whether your dick got skin on the top of the head?
Yep.
This descends into straight lunacy. We got real issues. You remember where this man's got skin on his dick.
You mean so there'll be two presidential candidates. One is a professor, track record, no corruption, not circumcised. The other one is corrupt as hell.
Yeah, and he's
we're choosing the second one. The first one,
that's great. Just like it showed the Calajan, then let the Kikuyu guy become the professor, and he's the one that you talking about. You know how backward you got to be. This man is educated because he's not from your goofy tribe. He's a Kikuyu, but he meets all the prerequisites. I mean,
celebrate and dance for Indian.
And me saying, listen, I want the Kikuyus to teach my kids. I'll probably get beat to death. I said, listen, he is qualified. I want him. Are you crazy? Start hitting me in the head and shit.
Yeah. I think I'll join Kamlesh and Joby in the next 9 minutes. They'll be here with musical. And
Kamlesh, I don't want to hear none of your music requests if your foreskin is not cut off. I want none of your requests.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Much love, family. Much love, kid.
You too, Demore.